Hey, welcome to Wolf's Watch. I just finished an interview with Joe DeShara over at Bedrock Business Builders. You need to check it out. He has a great live stream series that he does. And today's topic was how to work with remote teams, how to improve remote teams, how to improve teamwork while you have remote teams. And one of the things that we talked about that I wanted to share with you real quick, and also just give you a heads up that you need to get to know Joe. Go to Bedrock Business Builders, check out his live stream series. And, he is an exceptional CPA. He is an exceptional entrepreneur. So you can have some conversations with him that are based on what he sees working with lots of businesses in different industries, as well as his experience from scaling up his business very masterfully. Now, the thing I wanted to share with you was the one way that you can just absolutely wipe out the performance with your team, especially if they're working remote. Also applies if they're face to face too. And this is something that will destroy any ROI. You'll just be dumping money down the drain with your remote team if you do this. Have a manager that doesn't trust them and would rather have them in the office. If you've got a manager, you're scaling your business up. If you've got managers that would prefer to have remote teams in the office instead of working remote, or they're advocating that, they're not sure how to work with it, they don't like working with it, fire them, get rid of them. They're not good as managers. They're not competent, because it's no difference whether they're in the office or out. Yeah, there's some things that are different in that you need to do more of, because they're not face to face. The thing is, we have been running remote teams for decades, hundreds of years, even. I mean, back in the days of Queen Isabella, this was one of the things that we talked about. And Queen Isabella ran remote teams of seafaring, seafaring guys that she sent out to raid South America for gold. And the thing was, their lines of communication were a year, right? She would tell them, go do this. They would go do it. They would report back like they were supposed to, but you're talking a year. Now, all you got to do is go through the whole time. So, it's really timely. This takes forever. And I can understand why a manager wouldn't like this, because it takes too long to open an email and click on a link so that you can talk face to face like we are right now with someone on the other side of the globe, right? Communication is virtually instantaneous. Running remote teams requires trust. As with any team, you have to trust that they're going to do what you hired them to do. Now, that requires that your managers understand what it takes to get the job done. That requires that they can delegate. That requires that they can set goals so that the work is divided up in a way and amongst the right people in order to get done to achieve the goals that you gave the manager, right? Managers got to break that down and delegate it to the team that they're responsible for. If they're remote, that means handing off remote, trusting that they are working when they can't see them. If a manager needs to have them in the office place where they have to see them, give them to your competition. Let them help ruin their business, because that will sow the seeds of distrust. You'll never have a team. Without trust, your team cannot operate. Who's going to be foolish enough to step up and collaborate, which requires open communication, in an arena where they're afraid to do it because it's a low trust environment? Who wants to work in an environment where all of a sudden they see, an online, you get it using Teams to communicate, or you're using one of the other packages like Zoom, and they get an email with a request, go, hey, hop on Zoom with me, I want to talk with you. And all of a sudden going, oh no, right? The live office version of that is the manager walks into the office and everybody's like, oh, right? They're never going to have a high performing team in that environment. You cannot. It completely prevents ever being able to have a high performing team. You can get performance out of them. You're going to have high turnover. You're going to have backstabbing. You're going to have people refusing to accept accountability. You're going to have you're not going to have the open communication that's required for collaboration, because it's not safe. They don't trust. They don't want to be the one that gets thrown under the bus or reprimanded or fired. So I just wanted to share that with you real quick. The one way to absolutely ruin your teams, to make sure you never improve their performance, especially when they're working remote, is to put someone in place that's responsible for managing them, that operates from low trust and cannot trust that they are getting the work done, that's focused on the task, on what everybody's doing with their time every second, as opposed to getting the result. So my question for you would be, are you paying for time, or are you paying for results? You need to recruit people that pay for results. And here's the really bad news. If you have a manager like that on your team, guess who's accountable for that. That's right. You brought them on board, or you approved them being hired. You're the leader. So here's a tip on how you fix that, though. As you work with the managers to understand what's needed so that you build a high trust relationship with them, and then coach them on doing the same with their teams. Send them to training, send them to leadership development. Right? It's a deeply personal experience in the workplace. The better you are as a person, the more you work on yourself, sets the example for your managers. When they're doing the same, they're setting the example for their team members, who will then hopefully do the same or ask them about doing the same so they can coach them along that path. That makes them more effective in communication, makes them more effective in listening, which is a big part of communication, so that they can hear recommendations that their team makes. It's also put in place as policy how the rhythm of check-ins go. I've talked with some leaders that are just knocking it out of the park with remote teams that do a Monday, Friday check-in. Some do daily. Some do a periodic, hey, you know what? We're going to meet. Everybody's required to meet for 10 minutes. And the only thing we're going to talk about is what we're grateful for in our lives. Doesn't have to be business. It's just hey, what's going on in your life that you're really grateful for? So it builds a cohesion, a trust, a deeper relationship amongst everybody, which is crucial to improving the performance of the team. Maybe having a social time. It's like, hey, we're going to do a happy hour for 15 minutes before the end of the day. So everybody can just log on, grab something to snack on. Everybody's spread around, is talking with someone that has people spread around the world and going, yeah, we do 15 minutes and we just socialize. Everybody's got something to nosh on. It's like, it's like hanging out at a cafe virtually. So there's a little bit of social time. The social time is very, very important. I learned that with remote teams in the 1990s, where I built, after being on a team like this, I built another team at a corporate level at a major company where I had team members that were at 5 different business units spread across 4 states. And I had to get them together once a quarter. We did a 2-day working meeting. Really, the whole purpose for the meeting was to get them together so that we could break bread several times and sit around a dinner table, a lunch table, talking, getting to know each other. Hey, what's going on? How are the kids? What's happening with this? Oh yeah, we got this thing going on in the office and we're working on this. We got this challenge over here that wasn't directly related to the work. Now, those were incredibly expensive meetings, so we got work done during those 2 days, but that was the table stakes. The real thing that made the difference was building in the social time. So what's your rhythm for building in social time? How can you implement that? Maybe birthday celebrations, little Easter egg surprises, like Easter eggs as they're called. It's a random surprise, something they don't expect that everybody enjoys. It's creating a little bit of fun. So that's one way to destroy it. A couple of tips on how to build it. Hey, got to go. Thanks for being part of Wolf's Watch. Glad you're part of the conversation. If you're watching this on replay, leave, if you got a question, leave it in the comments. We watch the comments. We'll get your question answered. And then if you're liking this, smash that like button. If you didn't like this, smash that like button anyway. Someone else that might see that, be attracted to it because of that, and find that they like it. We appreciate you watching. I appreciate you watching. Not much of a conversation without you being part of it. I'll see you on the trail.